You ever wonder how an AI can just take a few words and spit out a masterpiece? It honestly feels like magic. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the tech that's making it all happen. Let's dive in.
Okay, just look at this. The prompt was something simple, like an astronaut riding a horse in a photorealistic style. And boom, the AI didn't find this picture somewhere on the internet, it made it from nothing. Just pure digital imagination, guided by those few words. So how on earth does it do that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. All right, first step, the AI art revolution. This whole AI art thing really does feel like it just exploded out of nowhere, right? And honestly, in a lot of ways, it kind of did. We're talking about a massive shift here. We're going from needing complex code to just having a conversation with a computer to make art. So just to be clear, AI making pictures isn't totally new. For a long time, the big players were these things called GANs. But then, right around 2020, everything changed. A new kid on the block showed up, diffusion models. And you can see it right here. In just a few short years, they didn't just catch up, they blew past the old methods. The quality is just on another level. And it's mostly because they learn in a much more stable, step-by-step way, which gives you these super high-quality images.
Which brings us to the big question. How do they actually do it? What's the secret sauce? Well, and this is the really cool part. It's totally counterintuitive. See, instead of learning how to build an image from scratch, these models learn how to create by first learning how to destroy. Sounds weird, right? Let's break it down. Okay, so here's the official definition. A diffusion model is a generative model that learns how to reverse a process of adding noise to an image. The best way to think about it is like watching a movie, but in reverse. Imagine watching a perfect picture slowly dissolve into a mess of TV static. The AI watches this happen over and over and over again, and in doing so, it gets incredibly good at figuring out how to run the movie forwards again. And this is the key takeaway, really. The secret is that it learns to create an image by perfectly undestroying it. So don't think of it as a painter with a blank canvas. That's not what's happening. Think of it more like a sculptor who starts with a big, messy block of marble, pure noise, basically. And the AI's job is to carefully chisel away all that noise, bit by bit, to reveal the image that's hidden inside. It's literally creating from chaos. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. I like to call it the denoising dance. It's really a two-step process, and it's actually pretty elegant when you break it down, but the results are just unbelievably powerful. So step one is what we call forward diffusion. This is the destroying part. The system takes a perfectly good image, let's say a picture of a cat, from its huge training library, and it just gradually adds noise, little by little, step by step, until the cat is completely lost in a sea of static. Then comes step two, reverse denoising. This is the learning phase. The AI's entire job is to look at that noisy mess and figure out how to take just one small step back, how to remove just a tiny bit of that noise to make it look a little more like the original cat. And it does this millions and millions of times. And after all that training, what do you get? You get an AI that's an absolute master at reversing the noise. So now you can just give it a screen full of pure static, pure chaos, like what you see on the right here. You give it that and a text prompt, a cat, for example. And the AI just goes to work, it runs that denoising process it learned so well, and guided by your words, it starts chiseling. And out of that chaos, a brand new image of a cat, one that has never existed before, just emerges. All right, so who's actually making these things? You've probably heard of a few of these AI artists. Let's do a quick meet and greet with the biggest names in the game right now. They're all using the same core diffusion tech to do some pretty amazing stuff. First up, you've got DALL-E 2 from OpenAI. This one's famous for creating super realistic and really artistic stuff from just a text prompt. Then there's Midjourney. It's known for being a bit more abstract, a little more imaginative. It's great for exploring really wild and creative ideas. And finally, we have Stable Diffusion. This one's a big deal because it's open source, and it has this super easy-to-use online playground that pretty much lets anyone jump in and start creating. So, why does any of this matter? I mean, this is obviously way more than just a fun toy for making pictures of astronauts riding horses. This technology has some really deep implications, both good and bad. Let's talk about the future. On the one hand, the benefits are pretty clear, right? The image quality is absolutely cutting edge, and these models are surprisingly efficient to train. But there are some major limitations too. These AIs are only as smart as the data we feed them.
So if that data has biases or is just plain wrong, you're going to get inaccurate results. And of course, there's a huge need for safety filters to stop people from using this to create, harmful or explicit images. And all of this kind of leads us to the biggest question of all. This tech is moving so fast. We've basically handed a paintbrush and a sculptor's chisel to a machine. So as AI gets better and better at the act of creating, what does that mean for us, for human creativity? What does it even mean to be an artist anymore? Honestly, that's the big conversation this technology has kicked off, and it's a conversation we're all going to be having for a long time to come.